last February that commemorate and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the start of the American Revolution, along with many other exciting events across the state, are sponsored by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism as part of their Mass 250 campaign. We are very grateful to be one of the communities chosen for the second year in a row to tell our revolutionary story. Last year, about 10,000 people turned out for revolutionary events in this town because we are, in fact, the center of the universe, and we were thinking that we will beat this. We know we will beat this again this year. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for turning out again and again, no matter what ridiculous idea we have.
The Massachusetts Bay Colony, not a particularly friendly place for an actor. It's hard enough. So here's a quote from Jack Larkin, writing in the Old Sturbridge Village Visitor, writing about the hostility of colonial authority to the theater. The laws of 17th century Massachusetts and Connecticut lumped traveling performers of all kinds with beggars, rogues.
That tracks.
And wandering preachers, calling them all vagabonds, and providing that they should be whipped, fined, and either removed to a place of settled residence or expelled from the colony. Yeah, so actors are the equivalent of vagabonds or prostitutes, which is pretty much what they were in England 150 years earlier as well. But for all of you, I'm sorry to say that watching a play is as retrograde as betting on a cockfight or playing at dice. You should all be very ashamed of yourselves for being here. And this was not, yes.
Good job.
Huzzah. This was not just the early Puritans. To quote again from Jack Larkin, as late as 1839,
Last week.
Connecticut statutes still forbade any company of players or persons whatever from exhibiting tragedies, comedies, farces, or other dramatic pieces or compositions, or any pantomimes. Are you kidding me? No pantos? Boo, hiss, boo. Or other theatrical shows whatsoever. They also prohibited the public representation of any games, tricks, plays, shows, tumbling, rope dancing, puppet shows, or feats of uncommon agility or dexterity of body. So, not tonight. Not tonight. They outlawed any circus of any description and the exhibition of any extraordinary feats by horse, pony, or any other animal. So, we had to leave the chickens at home.
Jack at home.
Yes,
Yeah,
Jack and the chickens are.
I did almost do a chicken trick up here.
You did.
I did.
You did, but it was outlawed.
That's why, the only reason I did
That's
it.
exactly. So where? But what are you to do? What are you to do? You're to go to the tavern. The tavern where good, decent, sober people can stop being good, decent, sober people, or at least sober. At least that. There were no playhouses, but there was plenty of playing. And how do we know that these entertainments were taking place at the taverns? One, because they're the only place they would take place, since there weren't any playhouses. And two, there wouldn't be statutes against it in 1839 if people weren't still doing it. So maybe we'll have some...
Don't make a law unless you break a law.
Does anybody do rope dancing?
Anyone?
Because we're here for it. Good. So apart from these vices, Bethany, what else was fomented at the taverns?
Just a splash of revolution. Okay, now I'm going to put my historically inaccurate reading glasses on. So taverns, as many of you know, were also the place where people went to discuss ideas, get news, talk to people that they wouldn't have necessarily met with otherwise. So they were a wonderful place to go have any sort of meeting that you needed to have outside of an official town meeting or a religious service. Those things happened at the meeting house. Everything else happened at the tavern, everything. Or at people's houses, of course, but the tavern was really the natural place to do it. It was a place of conviviality, but it was also a place where you would go to plot the overthrow of a monarch. So it sounds like y'all are in the right place. So These taverns were woven in every way into civic life. And I will just say, there is a myth that women were not in the tavern. Women were absolutely 100% in the tavern. And we know because they show up in the court records for doing terrible things in the tavern. Or they show up as witnesses when other people do terrible things in the tavern. So we know that they were there. Certainly it was a preponderance of men, but there were plenty of women, and these were, the tavern keeper's wife and family. These were also people would go in there to get a meal. They'd go in there to spend the night if they were traveling. So this is a much more egalitarian space than most other spaces in the 18th century as well. Taverns were carefully regulated, but again, rules were meant to be broken. Ask any tavern keeper. But officials certainly worried about disorder, drunkenness, etc., because it was happening all the time. So during the Revolution, the public role of taverns became even more visible. Taverns were ideal places for mobilizing opinion. They drew together merchants, sailors, artisans, farmers, and travelers in the same rooms. They also had sort of informal committee meetings there, and sometimes formal committee meetings. So Newburyport offers an especially vivid example in the Wolf Tavern. And some of you have heard me talk about the Wolf Tavern. I have a particular soft spot for old bandy-legged redhead General Wolf. He's just he was a special character. The Museum of Old, I am from the Museum of Old Newbury. The Wolf Tavern opened in 1762 with Captain William Davenport as innkeeper. I'm going to just tell you about these people because I can't even read my notes. What I'm going to tell you is that if the tavern was open in 1762, 3 years later, we have a bill from the tavern. This is a bill from Newburyport to William Davenport for sundry expenses at my house. Sorry, William Davenport is the keeper of the Wolf Tavern. And he submits a bill to the town of Newburyport at the great uneasiness and tumult of the said town on occasion of the Stamp Act. So this is in 1765. Wolf Tavern is relatively new. William Davenport has come back from the Plains of Abraham outside Quebec City, where he has been standing near General Wolfe when he is killed, basically kicking the French out of Quebec. How'd that turn out? Okay, but at the time, big deal. So he came back and he named his tavern after General Wolfe, who everyone agreed was a hell of a guy and had died heroically on the Plains of Abraham. And then, of course, the unpleasantness began almost immediately. General Wolfe died in 59. The Wolf Tavern opens in 62, and here we are in 65. And he is billing for 3 bowls of punch, 7 double bowls of punch, 7 double bowls of egg toddy, 7 double bowls of punch, 22 single bowls of punch, double bowls of punch, bowl of punch, double bowl of toddy, punch, mugs of flip, 55 mugs of flip, Thribble Bowie of punch. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds great and I want one. Double bowl of punch, double bowl of punch, triple bowl of punch, double bowl of punch. The whole entire thing is huge, humongous bowls of punch. Mostly, people generally shared bowls of punch, but my friend Alex here just drinks it himself. So after a very long list of double bowls of punch, we have the suppers, which were cooked hot. Who knows how that went? 8 more double bowls of punch after supper. It specifically says after supper. Double bowls of toddy, 12 double bowls of toddy, 12 more bowls of punch, a Bowie of egg toddy. I don't know what that is, but I'd like one. 6.5 pints of spirits. And then the last item, a breakfast for the company. They spent the night. Just going to say, the direct ancestor of the Thirsty Whale, Wolf Tavern. Okay. I will also say, so again, as agitation towards revolution carried on, the Wolf Tavern continued to be a place where people met. Now, the Wolf Tavern, being named after a British general, there were many Wolf Taverns because many people came back from fighting in the French and Indian War and, loved General Wolfe and named their tavern after him. And all of those Wolf Taverns closed. Why? Because people were shooting at the sign. There was a Wolf Tavern in Groveland, what is now Groveland, Georgetown. And the sign, I'm going to say Georgetown. I can't remember. I don't know. And the sign of Wolf Tavern, they actually still have it, and it's full of bullet holes. It's full of musket balls. Because, it was the target of anti-British feeling. In Newburyport, William Davenport, who had fought near Wolfe and served with him and loved him, fought back and said, "I am a true patriot. Look, I just served you all enough punch to kill an elephant. So leave me alone. I want to be the Wolf Tavern. This man is not involved in this fight." And in fact, the town, which was rabidly patriot, the patriots were rabidly violent, is what I should say. There definitely were loyalists here. We'll hear about them later. But for the most part, the patriots were sort of throwing their weight around. And William Davenport decided that his own personal experience of General Wolfe was powerful enough that he was going to fight back to have his tavern named the Wolf Tavern. And in fact, it remained the Wolf Tavern throughout the Revolution, which is amazing, incredibly amazing, and did not change until after the War of 1812, when his grandsons didn't feel like fighting that fight. But I would like to propose a toast to Wolf Tavern.
Here.
Cheers. I will also say Wolf Tavern also served the soldiers of Newbury. We have a bill here that's in our archive at the Museum of Old Newbury. And upon the return of the town, upon the alarm of the Battle of Lexington, Newbury turned out for the Battle of Lexington and didn't make it. So we turned around and started drinking. You know what? We tried, damn it. So we were charged for ship's bread, white bread, a quintal of fish, chocolate, sugar, cheese, and that was all from Anthony Davenport, who is the son of William Davenport at the Wolf Tavern. So the tavern here in Newburyport was the center of revolutionary activity and also, ironically, continued to be named after a British general. So we were always incredibly stubborn in this town, and we wanted what we wanted, and we wanted a Wolf Tavern. There you go. So with that, one of the other things that happened, one of the legends of General Wolfe, is that the night before he died, the night before he led his men into battle, his men adored him. General Wolfe was adored by his men, in part because he would sing them songs. Apparently it was a different kind of military in those days. But he was a bit of a songster, and he wrote a song for his men that was supposed to inspire them to fight and not be afraid to die on the following day. Joke's on him, he died the following day. But it's called How Stands the Glass Around, and it was also sung in France's Tavern by Aaron Burr the night before he shot Alexander Hamilton. So it has a long and illustrious history, and I'm going to invite our tavern gentleman here to perform it for us.
How stands the glass around? For shame you take no care, me boys. How stands the glass around? Let mirth and wine abound. The trumpets sound. The colors they are flying, boys, to fight, kill or wound. May we still be found content with our hard fare, me boys, on the cold, cold ground. Why, soldiers, why should we be melancholy, boys? Why, soldiers, why, whose business 'tis to die? What sighing fight? Damn fear, drink on, be jolly, boys, 'tis he, you and I. Cold, hot, wet, or dry, we're always bound to follow, boys, and scorn to fly. 'Tis but in vain, I mean not to upbraid you, boys. 'Tis but in vain for soldiers to complain. Should next campaign send us to him that made us, boys, we're free from pain. But should we remain, a bottle and kind landlady cures all again.
So what else happened in a tavern? Well, certainly when you were drinking from a bowl, you might end up saying a saucy word or two to somebody else in the bar. There's a bit of a grudge here tonight that I'm starting to feel brew behind me. Do you have anything to say to each other, gentlemen?
You are a yeasty, whoreson, canker. nectar blossom.
You, sir, are a fleshmonger, a coward, and a fool.
All right. Well, I actually am, so that... I'll take it.
Checks out. You would also, of course, have at the tavern at this time a lot of newspapers, right? The power of the press is formidable, and as we just heard, there's a whole lot of news coming out about the war, but also before the war, getting people very riled up. Do we have, Susanna Moody, you've been sitting there reading that ancient newspaper. What are you reading today, Susanna?
I'm reading some ads.
Yeah.
I'm reading some advertisements, just like we have now. We have Mary Fisher has just imported from London a fresh assortment of winter goods, which she sells at her shop just to the northward of Reverend Mr. Carey's meeting house in Newburyport. Amongst her goods are a great variety of best double camblets for riding hoods, a number of scarlet broadcloths with fur trimmings and snails, also blankets, duffels, bases, kerseys, bath beavers, ratteens, broadcloths with subtle trimmings, with most articles that are wanted for women's or men's wear, any of which will be sold as cheap as at any shop in town. Also, to cover mares this season, the Hero horse, lately owned by Mr. Thomas Brown of Newbury, now owned by Onesphorus Page, 2 miles above Amesbury Mills.
My third cousin.
Bethany's third cousin.
Hero horse. Who needs a hero horse?
We all need a hero.
Are you reading anything else? Is it just advertisements in that newspaper, or what else do you have there?
Do I have a poem?
Do you have a poem?
Do I have a poem?
On this, it says you have a poem.
I do have a poem. Is
Oh.
this when I read that poem?
Good idea.
I'm also reading a poem by Quaker revolutionary Hannah Griffiths, who was born in Philadelphia and was known for her biting satire in which she promoted the revolutionary cause. So this is called The Female Patriots. Since the men from a party, on fear of a frown, are kept by a sugar plum quietly down, supinely asleep and deprived of their sight, are stripped of their freedom and robbed of their right. If the sons, so degenerate, the blessing despise, let the daughters of liberty nobly arise. And though we've no voice but a negative here, the use of the taxables let us forbear. Then merchants import till your stores are all full. May the buyers be full and your traffic be dull. Stand firmly resolved and bid Granville to see that rather than freedom, we'll part with our tea. And well as we love the dear draught when a dry, as American patriots, our taste we deny. Sylvania's gay meadows can richly afford to pamper our fancy or furnish our board. And paper sufficient at home still we have to assure the wiseacre we will not sign slave. When this homespun shall fail to remonstrate our grief, we can speak with the tongue or scratch on a leaf. Refuse all their colors, the richest of dye, the juice of a berry our paint can supply. To humor our fancy, and as for our houses, they'll do without painting, as well as our spouses. While to keep out the cold of a keen winter morn, we can screen the northwest with a well-polished horn. And trust me, a woman by honest invention might give this state doctor a dose of prevention. Join mutual in this, and but small as it seems, we may jostle a Granville and puzzle his schemes. But a motive more worthy our patriot pen, thus acting, we point out their duty to men. And should the bound pensioners tell us to hush, we can throw back the satire by making them blush.
We'd ask you to read, but you're an illiterate loiterer.
Oh. You are a wimpled, full-gorged clock pole. I don't even know what that is.
Neither does he. You got it.
You are a body, liver, liver? 1 second. Lily-livered measle.
Rogue, thou hast lived too long.
Damn rascal.
Go, yeah.
That's sufficient. I think we just heard the eloquence of the female of the species, and let's return to it. Mercy Otis Warren. Mercy Otis Warren was a self-educated revolutionary mother. She was born in Barnstable. She lived in Plymouth and in Boston. She was the mother of 5, and in her spare time, she wrote poetry. John Adams considered her to be the very best pen in North America and asked her after the Boston Tea Party to immortalize it with a poem, which she obliged, Of course, before the war actually began with powder and bullets, there was a war of words, and Mercy Otis Warren was a leading voice in that war of words. She used the metaphor of the play. I told you before, plays were not particularly popular, or playhouses at least. They could get away with them at the tavern, right? Little snippets. But she decided to use, again, classically, she was self-educated in a household with a whole lot of books. She read her Shakespeare, she read her Greek and Roman histories, and so she decided that she would make a little satire, but, well, you'll see what she made. But the plays that she wrote were not designed to be performed, they were designed to be read in the newspapers, so you can believe that people would have been reading this aloud in the taverns. So in the Massachusetts Spy, I'm sorry, I should say, she was often cited as the first American female playwright, and pretty much like the second American playwright for that. Again, not to be performed, but so I want you to pretend we're here at the tavern on March 26th of 1772. We're reading that day's paper, and we find in it an excerpt of a play called The Adulator. And it says, this is printed as it is currently being played in Upper Servia, which is to say, as is actually happening on the streets of Boston. Before we read this, it needs some context, okay? Who is the most hated man in Boston, in the Massachusetts Bay colonies in 1772? Say it with me, Thomas Hutchinson. Yes, indeed. Thank you, all of you.
My third cousin.
Keep that one. Okay. So Governor Hutchinson, he was a Boston-born loyalist Tory. He was blamed rightly for the writs of assistance that allowed custom officials to search anything they wanted to. And later, the hated Stamp Act. And so, in 1665, yes, boo, hiss, boo. In 1665, he, 17, probably 17, we're not sure.
I am sure.
1765, the Stamp Acts. In response to the Stamp Acts, I believe he was lieutenant governor, but he was at that point acting as governor because of that one going back to England. It's history stuff. That's first. So at any rate, a patriot mob surrounds his house on several occasions. On the last occasion, it ransacks this fine house, and he and his family narrowly escape, and they, horror of horrors, pull apart the wainscoting and do about 2,000 pounds worth of damage, and somehow he's later given 3,000 pounds to in exchange for it. But he's not happy about that, we can assume. So Mercy Otis Warren casts him as the traditional vice from the English moralities plays, the prototypical villain. And I'm really excited to do that voice because villains are fun. His name is Rapatio. And very soon, the name Rapatio is just slang for Hutchinson in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. That's the reach of this. So in this scene, before we start, I'm going to need someone in the audience who is trained in iambic pentameter, preferably just Shakespeare, maybe more than one person. Is anybody? Do I have? Oh my God! My dear friend Andrew Codispati, what brings you here tonight? Oh my God! This is amazing. Yes, you do. Come on up on stage. Would you take that mic over there, please? I'm gonna need some people to read with me on this. So I'm so glad. Oh yes, a hat and a stein. Wonderful. What a coincidence. I actually met Andrew doing Shakespeare in a bar. So this is a coincidence. At any rate, in this scene, we meet Hutchinson, Rapatio, reveling in his rise to the top as governor, no longer lieutenant governor, after the fall of his predecessor, who in the play is called Brundo, but who is a stand-in for the governor, Francis Bernard. And he is going to speak with someone named Dupe, a very, very thinly disguised stand-in for all of the loyalists in Boston who are being duped by Hutchinson. So, Dupe, shall we?
Thank you.
I've got to take this one on a walk. This is going to be fun. Got to work on my villain. Hail, happy day, in which I find my wishes, my gayest wishes crowned. Brundo retired, the stage is clear. Whatever gilded prospects e'er swam before me, honor, places, pensions, all at command. Oh, my full heart 'twill burst. Now, patriots, think on the past and tremble. Think on that gloomy night when, as you phrased it, indignant justice reared her awful front and frowned me from her. When 10,000 monsters, wretches, who only claimed mere outward form to give a sanction to humanity, broke my retirement, rushed into my chamber and rifled my secrets, then flung me, helpless, naked and destitute, to beg protection. Hell! It's fun. What a night was this. And do they think I'll e'er forget such treatment? No! Ye gods, if there is any secret sympathy which born and bred together they may claim, I give it to the winds. Out! Out, vile passion! I'll trample down the choicest of their rights and make them curse the hour that gave me birth, that hung me as a meteor in the sky, which from its tail shook pestilence and ruin. But here comes Dupe. A creature formed by nature to be a sycophant. Though I despised him, yet he's too necessary for my purpose to be relinquished. I'll take him by the hand, give him a bow, and buoy up his hopes. He's mine forever.
It gives me greatest joy to see your honor. Servia's sole ruler, what though not complete, and primly seated in the chair of power, yet all the reins of government you hold. And should that happy period ere arrive when Brundo quits for thee entire possession, remember, dupe, and think on former friendships.
I'll not forget. And well thou said I held the reins of power, and I will make them feel it. And happy for me, all the posts of honor are filled with beings wholly at my service, creatures of my own, who, if I spoke, would mangle law and reason, and nobly trample on the highest ties. And hence the soldier, whose security is the prime basis of my government, may scoff, insult, nay, in the face of day, abuse the citizens, yet go unpunished, nay, shoot them in Fifth Avenue. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry. In short, all orders obey my summons and perform my will. But tell me, dupe, they say these muttering wretches grow fond of riot and with pageantry do ridicule the friends of government.
The thing is fact. The worthy citizen finds property precarious. All things tend to anarchy and ruin.
I'll make the scoundrels know who sways the scepter. Before I'll suffer thus, I'll throw the state in dire confusion. Nay, I'll hurl it down and bury all things in one common ruin. O'er fields of death with hastening step I'll speed and smile at length to see my country bleed. From my tame heart the pang of virtue fling, and mid the general flame, like Nero, sing. Yeah. Mercy on us. Mercy, Otis Warren. Woo! She wasn't holding back. That was published in the Massachusetts Spy. It's right out there. She's not holding back. Yeah. 1772. 1772. March 1772. So Mercy clearly read her Shakespeare. This is all in blank verse, iambic pentameter, closing with a rhyming couplet, with the frank villainy of a Richard III or an Iago. But in the next scene, we are going to meet two good patriots, aptly named after the assassins of the tyrant Julius Caesar. They are named Brutus and Cassius. And these are thinly veiled, her brother, James Otis Jr., and her husband, James Warren. Side note, her brother coined the term taxation without representation is tyranny. So he gets to be Brutus. He earned it. He was also a miserable alcoholic, and he got hit in the head, and he had a bowl of punch, and it was not great. It's fine. Okay, so the backdrop on this scene is, as you all know, a couple of weeks before the Boston Massacre, an event that led directly to it in early 1770.
Iron-headed harpy.
The two of you, honestly. No. All right, he said one, you can give him one back.
And before we go on, I'm just curious. Is the bloody back yours? Because he's kind of stinking up the tavern right now.
Okay. All right.
Go home to your old boots. That means his wife, who is someone else's mistress.
All right, listen, Mercy Otis Warren is in charge right now. And she might approve, I wouldn't know.
She needs a drink. Mensch.
Yeah. Beer mensch. The lady requires a libation. Yeah, don't... Okay, so Ebenezer Richardson. Ebenezer Richardson was a customs official and an informant. And you know around here we don't like an infamant. I lost my place just for that bad joke. You guys have all seen The Departed, yeah? All right. So one day his house is surrounded, much like Hutchinson's was, by a patriot mob, and he shoots kind of indiscriminately into the crowd, killing a young boy named Christopher Sider. The funeral of this 11-year-old boy, Christopher Sider.
No, I'm sad about Christopher.
Okay.
I'm having a genuine emotion. Just leave
I'm
it alone.
saying history stuff. I assume you're going to correct me at some point, so I just... Okay. Good. So his funeral was a major political event. It was part of what rose the tension in the city, and then the Boston Massacre happened. So this is very much, it was only one death, but it is the justice of this is very much in question because he was immediately Richardson was immediately tried, and the judges told the jury, look, this is open and shut, okay? His house was surrounded, he was being attacked, he's protecting himself and his possessions. This is manslaughter. The jury says, no, it's murder. And there's only one punishment for murder on the books at that point, and that is death. So the judges, rather than hanging Ebenezer Richardson, they delay, and they delay a little bit more, and then Governor Hutchinson applies for a royal pardon, and there's a whole process, and eventually it comes through 2 years later. 2 years later, in March of 1772, right when the next scene is being published. All right. I'm going to need another friend for this, so I'm going to find a friend in the audience, and they have no idea that I'm going to do this. They're completely unprepared. All right. So, Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Brutus and Cassius. Ha! Ha! Sorry, I've got to get the villain out. Okay.
Bravo.
Is it come to this? Did you see it?
You want me to be Brutus or Cass?
Oh, shh.
I don't mind, we could switch off.
Huzzah, that was great.
He's Brutus. We're professionals.
Ha ha! It's come to this, and did you see it?
I saw it, and could paint a scene of woe. Would make the sun collect his scattered rays and shroud himself in night, while numbers crowded, thoughtless of harm, to see the pageantry, and sportive youths played gamesome in the street. That wretch, that cursed Ebenezer, whom long this country blushed to own her son, urged on by hell and malice, unprovoked, hurled through the crowd, promiscuous death and slaughter. One youth, unhappy victim, fell. He lies reeking in gore and bites the hated ground.
This poor land. What scenes await it? This is the dawn. If murders open here, what will the day disclose? Oppression strews her earliest paths with blood. Gods, are we men? And stand we still and bear it? Where's our sense? Our ancient sense of freedom. Even the boy, should we but tame, would feel his pulse beat high and nobly grasp the sword he scarce could wield.
It must be so. We'll right ourselves or die. But what approaches here? Enter Portius and a crowd. So you're the crowd, so rabble, 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 rabble.
Who's there? Who's there? A friend.
Brutus, take the sword and bravely plunge it.
In whom?
A wretch.
A wretch.
A murderer. Let not one motive damp thy rising ardor. The parent weeps his child, the staff of age untimely slain. Pity, revenge, rage, fury, 10,000 boisterous passions glow within me. A call for blood. Not this poor wretch alone. The grand prime spring shall fall a sacrifice. Though all his legions fondly hovered Round him, I'll cut my way through all, and with my sword drench in the tyrant's blood, then on the pile of bleeding freedom pour the rich libation.
Stay, Porcius, stay. Let reason calm thy passions. Let us not fully, by unmeaning actions, the cause of injured freedom. This demands a cool, sedate, and yet determined spirit.
Brutus, thy mind composed can reason well, but when I see even innocence itself can find no shelter, my pulse beats high. I'm all on fire. Speak to the distant winds, command the storm, or lull a hurricane.
But hear me, Porcius, one word more I ask thee. You know the foes of freedom, eagle-eyed, watch every deed. They wish to see us act up to the character they long have painted, headstrong, rebellious, factious, uncontrolled, rather to justice drag the murderer.
Brutus, you know who filled that sacred bench. Rapatio's tools, mere creatures of the tyrant. Depend upon it, they'll vilely wrest the law and save the villain. Yes, depend upon it. Shall he be brought before that bribed tribunal? They'll plead his cause and save the murderer's life.
Well, Porcius, that's with them. We've done as patriots ought, like men who scorn the name of faction, men who nobly act from the sense of honor. If they saved the villain, theirs is the guilt of blood, and he who holds impartial justice will demand an answer.
'Tis well. You've charmed my angry soul to rest. I'll go and soothe the boisterous multitude, calm all their souls, and make them act like free men.
Oh, yes! Yes! Exit, Porcius, and crowd. Rabble, 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 rabble. Rabble, rabble. Exit, rabbling. Yes. Wonderful.
Oh, Cassius, oh, my friend, my heart, it bleeds. It bleeds to hear the groans of gasping freedom. Could but my life atone and save my country, pleased could I bear this breast and die in transport.
No, Brutus, live. And live to rescue virtue. For this 10,000 motives crowd upon us. Our fathers seem to murmur in their tombs and urge us on. Last night, as I lay musing on evils past and trembling at the future, a gleam of light broke in on my retirement. My father's ghost burst on my startled fancy and froze the current of my blood. He stared, horrid he stared, then frowned and spoke in thunder, "Cassius, attend. Where is that noble spirit I once instilled? Behold, this fair possession I struggled hard to purchase, fought and bled to leave it yours unsullied. Oh, defend it, nor lose it, but in death." He spake and vanished. "Yes," I replied, "thou injured shade I will defend, and ere I'll lose it, meet 10,000 deaths."
Nor these alone. All those who fought for freedom chide the unmanly sloth. Meanwhile, my friend, let's see the mournful obsequies performed. Give to the dust the relics of a youth, untimely cropped and lost, like some gay flower which vernal zephyrs fanned and gentle sunbeams waked to life. A while it cleared our sight and promised pleasure when the rigorous north blasted its bloom and froze up every sweet. Let's pay this last sad tribute to the dead. Together in the funeral pomp, let's go, share in their grief, and join the general woe.
Excellent. I mean, right? Mercy Otis Warren giving us shades of Hamlet's ghost in the newspaper. And you can't tell me that the Patriots weren't reading that aloud in the tavern to each other. Gorgeous language. All right. Can we please give it up for Andrew? And for Lark? Woo! Keep your hand. All right, so Mercy Otis Warren wrote 2 more plays, creating a cycle that was published between 1772 and 1774. After the Revolution, she writes one of the first histories about the Revolutionary period. She continues to write poetry. She is an extraordinary unsung hero of our Revolution. And let's have a drink to Mercy. You guys are like out of beer at this point. I'm so sorry. Intermission's coming. You can get more beer. So while again the women of our colony are waxing so poetic, what do the gentlemen have to say?
What? Who's a gentleman? What?
No one here apparently. Yeah.
I have no idea what any of that just meant. But you are a pribbling, dizzy-eyed flax wench.
You have a good point. And I agree. I have no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But you, sir, are a bootless, flat-mouthed Newbury.
Yikes.
I will
Yikes.
drink to that.
Come on.
Terrible. Luckily for all of us, here tonight we have one of our greatest Newburyport luminaries. Luminaries, yes. Here we have the self-proclaimed greatest philosopher in the West, the notorious LTD, Lord Timothy Dexter. Would you do us a favor? Would you read to us? He's parched. Yeah. Yeah. Would you read to us, please?
That became a famous line later. He just said, "Hold my beer."
It all started in 1776 at the Wolf Tavern. Would you read to us from the letter that you sent to the editor, please?
I am preparing to read. You might take notice. Whereas I, Lord Timothy Dexter, having had 24 dark and stormies, have been truly informed that several audacious, atrocious, ferocious, pestiferous, infamous, intrepid, night-walking, garden-robbing, immature, peach-stealing rascals, all the spawn of asses and rogues and cubs of Satan.
He's talking about you. He's talking about you.
Listen, I got more where that came from. Do frequently, villainously, and burglariously, that's right, I said it, assemble themselves together in my garden, therein piping, fighting, swearing, Sabbath breaking, fornicating, roguing, duck egg hunting.
Isn't he? I agree. Isn't he?
Duck egg hunting, dude.
You're
That-
out of control,
that's
sir.
right.
Out of control.
With many other shameless and illicit acts, which the modesty of my pen, because I'm writing this, cannot express. This is to give you all notice. Dolebrains, Delicarians, Capincurians, Tullamorians, base-born scoundrels, all rascals, of whatsoever nation ye be, return me my fruit and property, or by the gods, the heathen gods, I swear I will send my son Samuel, that's right, I'm a southern accent guy right now, to Babylon for bloodhounds fiercer than tigers and fleeter than the wind, and hunt you through Europe, Asia, Africa, and America, till I can enter you in a cavern under a great tree in Newfoundland, which you all know that great tree, where Beelzebub himself can never find you. Smell you, but he won't find you. Hear ye, jawed, herring-gutted, ton-bellied plebeians, that if ye or any of ye dare set your feet in my house or garden, I will send you to Sharon.
Sharon, Massachusetts.
Sharon.
Who will ferry you over the river Styx and deliver you to the archdevil Lucifer at the place of his infernal cauldron, there to be dredged with the sulfur of Cocycus and roasted forever before ever-burning cinders of Etna.
Yes. Who's down with LTD? Lord Timothy Dexter, I do declare. You all remember the fairy woman of the river Styx, Sharon. Love you. Sharon? All right, let's cleanse our palate with another song. Portermen, could you sing another one for us? What do you say?
We'd be all right if we made it round the horn. We'll be all right if we made it round the horn. We'll be all right if we make it round the horn. And we'll all hang on behind. And we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Oh, we'd be all right if the wind was in our sails.
We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails.
We'd be all right if the wind was in our sails.
And we'll all hang on behind.
And we'll
Roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Well, a tight-waisted woman wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, a tight-waisted woman wouldn't do us any harm.
No, a tight-waisted woman wouldn't do us any harm.
And we'll all hang on behind.
And we'll
Roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Well, a night with the wenches wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, a night with the wenches wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, a night with the wenches wouldn't do us any harm.
And we'll all hang on behind.
And we'll
Roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Well, a damn good flogging wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, a damn good flogging wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, a damn good flogging wouldn't do us any harm.
And we'll all hang on behind.
And we'll
Roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. We'll roll the old chariots along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Oh, well, some rum, beer, and baccy wouldn't do us any harm.
Yes, some rum, beer, and baccy wouldn't do us any harm.
Well, some rum, beer, and baccy wouldn't do us any harm.
And we'll all hang on behind.
And we'll
Roll the old chariots along. We'll roll of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm. Yes, a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm. I said a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind. And we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind.
Meow. We've all been drinking enough of this wonderful Ipswich beer to need a bathroom break. So let's take an intermission. But before we do, it's very important to remind everybody of our sponsors. What sponsors are in the paper in 1776? Susanna Moody? Yes. What advertisements hast thou?
Well, wanted, a wet nurse with a good breast of milk. Inquire at the printer. A deserter. Deserted from the custody of the subscriber, one James Kendall, who with 7 other persons was sent by the Honorable Council of this colony to the care of the Committee of Safety of Newburyport, to be by them employed or secured as they should think proper. He is a convict, lately transported from England, about 22...
No!
It's...
No, he's not 22.
He is not 22. This one is about 22 years of age, rather small, has tender eyes, sandy hair tied behind, his legs swelled, is a great singer of songs and a good barber, but a weaver by trade, was poorly dressed, had with him a pair of silk knit breeches and 2 short jackets. He is suspected of theft and of being a very bad fellow, and is supposed to have gone towards Cambridge to procure the place of a drummer, as he pretends to be a master of that art. This is to desire the committees of any other town or any individuals to secure said Kendall in any jail or place of safety and acquaint me therewith. William Ingalls, by order of the Committee of Safety. You want any more advertisements? Everybody loves commercials. Okay. I would inform the public in answer to Mr. A. Law's charge that the rules for singing laid down in my book as to the scales, characters, and examples are very nearly the same with Mr. Law, excepting some few emendations as to the music. Out of 65 pieces in Mr. Law's book, I have 45 of them in mine, with the addition of 100 psalm and hymn tunes and anthems. As to errors, let him who is without cast the first stone. Daniel Bailey.
Tonight's performance brought to you by
Soap Potash, to be sold by Sarah Atkins.
Fantastic. The bathrooms are in the basement, the beer is in the hall. That's a good song. Portermen?
Yeah, we might need this.
Adrian, I met Adrian today, but I reached out to her on Facebook Marketplace a long time ago because she has a Hurdy Gurdy. And how cool is that? So this is a big moment for me, finally meeting in the flesh. And we have asked Adrian to tell us a little bit about the Hurdy Gurdy that she just played tonight.
So I moved everything so I can show you a little bit because it's easier if you can see it. So if you can't see it, I describe it as as an accordion and a bagpipe mix. Except it's neither of those things at all because it has neither air nor reeds. So it's strings with a wheel, and you put cotton around the wheel, and there's rosin on the wheel itself. Cotton around the strings, rosin on the wheel. So it's like the bow of a violin. And I have the strings off. So it's rubbing against the string there. And then the keys come in here, and it's chromatic like a piano, just the colors are backwards over a modern piano. So they slide in, gravity brings them back down. And then I have drones on the side. The cool thing about it being a wheel is you can put things on and off. I can put a nice drone on there. And then the one that's buzzing is this one. It's on a bridge right here, this little tiny thing. It's called a dog. It's a little bump with your wrist in the right spot, and it gets that to hit a little harder, and you get a rhythm on with it. It showed up in the medieval time period. The earliest depiction is from 900 in Spain, with two people playing it. It was much larger with a crank and then one person kind of hitting the keys in and out. This one's just from 90s. Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Last century.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Huzzah. Huzzah indeed. Thank you so much, Adrian. All right, now that we've had some lovely music, we've all had another round. I'm sure that our friends here have been able to bury the hatchet. Yes?
No.
You haven't?
Harpy.
What have you left to say to each other after all this time?
You're a buckfish. That's an old, lecherous man.
Yeah. Gentlemen?
Gentlemen?
What do you say we show these gentlemen of the tavern what it means to wish each other well? Does anybody have a toast?
Here's a toast to all of us, the large ones and the small of us, the short ones and the tall of us. When the time gets for all of us, let's hope he'll make one all of us.
Who else has a toast?
I have a toast. Here's to the happiest hours of my life, spent in the arm of another man's wife.
Oh! Those goddamn British.
What's the punchline? My mother.
Oh, that's messed up, dude.
That's my favorite lobster back of all time.
And that's saying something. Who else has a toast? Got a toast?
Hold my beer.
Hold my wine.
May you live as long as you want to. May you want to as long as you live. If I'm asleep when you want to, wake me. If I'm awake and don't want to, make me.
Yes, ma'am. Who else has a toast?
Here's to that moment of sweet repose, when it's cheek to cheek and nose to nose. For after that moment of sublime delight, it's fanny to fanny for the rest of the night.
Ladies, gentlemen, and patrons.
Oh!
Let us be gay while we may, and seize love with laughter. I'll be true as long as you, but not for a moment after.
Here, here. Any other toasts in the house? Yes. Wonderful. Excuse me.
Here's to a long life and a merry one, a quick death and an easy one, a pretty girl and an honest one, a cold beer and another one.
Anyone else? Oh.
I did my best handing them out. Then fill the cup, fill high, fill high. Let joy our goblet crown. We'll bung misfortune's scowling eye and knock foreboding down.
You don't have a microphone. This is terrible.
Okay. So my toast, I'm going to forget now. Okay, William Snelling. Okay. Wait, hold on. I'll pledge my friends, and for my foes, a pox on their heads and a plague on their toes. And the reason that that is my toast is that that is the actual toast that was given by William Snelling in 1651 that landed him in court. And I will tell you all that we could make up more interesting stuff than you heard here tonight, but the important thing about it to me is that this is all verbatim. This is all real. These are the actual words of Mercy Otis Warren. These are the actual advertisements from the Newburyport paper. You are going to hear voices spoken that haven't been spoken in 250 years. So I love all of the extra bits. You're going to hear some extra bits, some that I wrote myself. It's like a middle school nightmare that I'm going to read my own poetry in front of a group of people. I might throw up. We'll see. It's going to be great. But the thing that really matters to me and has mattered to me for a long time, and I think the thing that made Tales and Ales so special, is that this is the actual words that people actually spoke and wrote hundreds of years ago. So wishing the plague and the pox on your friends and neighbors was not a cool thing to do in 1651, and so William Snelling was thrown in jail, but I loved that they bothered to write his toast down. There is another toast in the court record later that you'll hear.
Hear, hear. So, all right, well, we're back in the tavern. We don't have any rope dancing. We were going to have some rope dancing and some ventriloquism and some sleights of hand, but I'm afraid the magistrates have really clamped down on tavern activities. And so what did people do when the law did say, hey, remember those laws we passed? Well, if we go back to our dear friend Jack Larkin, he would tell us what they would do. Many of the showmen traveling through the region sought to present themselves not as entertainers at all, but as educators. Instead of Punch and Judy shows, performers offered painted, scrolling dioramas that illustrated historic battles, scripture stories, and the wonders of foreign lands. Other entertainers exhibited menageries of exotic animals, not as vulgar spectacles, but as instructive examples of natural history. So if you were here this afternoon, you will have enjoyed... That's called foreshadowing. If you were here this afternoon, you will have enjoyed Graham and Bethany up here with a PowerPoint presentation on Offin Boardman. Well, before there was PowerPoint, there was moving dioramas. And this is a story told, it's as old as hieroglyphs if you think about its image in sequence to tell a story. And so very, very, very far back in time, particularly in the East, there are references to people who are singing a song while they scroll a story by that is illustrated on two scrolls wound from one side to the other. This became even more popular when printing made it possible for non-illustrators, but people who were they could go and buy prints of, say, battles and paste them together in sequence, and then they could go from town to town and educate people on different things that they had in print by simply rolling them from one dowel onto the other. So, tonight we are going to. This is a marvelous culmination. Hot dog, is what they used to say. You may have heard earlier that Bethany Doro has spent a good deal of her professional life with a very handsome gentleman named Offin Boardman. She, for tonight's entertainment, has provided us with a narrative of Offin Boardman and his sea adventures. And our dear friend, Alan Bull, pause for applause, thank you. Now you're going to feel like idiots because he's sitting right there. Alan Bull, everybody! Oh, so handsome. Our dear friend Alan Bull has illustrated onto a Crankie. Now, these would have been, usually, there would have been a candle set behind a piece of, a long scroll of paper, and they would have wound it from one dowel to the other, vertically, vertically, like this. We have adapted this ancient form of storytelling using a classroom projector. So we are going to start by remembering to always rewind.
Whoop.
Be kind, rewind. Some of us remember.
Aww.
Literally everyone in this audience remembers. Literally.
No, I do
Sam,
remember.
Sam,
Sam
do you
does
remember
not
VHS
Be kind,
tapes?
rewind.
Goddamn British. Huzzah! So, here we have. Okay.
We broke it. The Ballad.
The Ballad of Offin Boardman. Words by Bethany Groff Durow.
Thank you.
Living out her middle school nightmare.
Correct.
Artwork by the inimitable Alan Bull. And now this is participatory. You are at the tavern. This absolutely, apart from the projection aspect of it, would have occurred at the tavern, and we are going to ask you all to sing along. Of course, our dear Portermen have set the chorus to a tune for us. They're going to teach it to you.
Because they had to.
Right now, because they had to. They were told to. Gentlemen.
What ho to dear old Newburyport and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for conning luck and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
Woo! Now that you know it, you may sing it along.
Yes, you will sing it. Come on. Again?
Do it again and sing along.
Oh, to dear old Newburyport and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for conning luck and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
Woo! All right, are you ready? Come in, my friends. Draw close to your chair. You don't have that choice. They're bolted to the floor. Let storms stay at the door. We'll talk of those whose meager fare was salt and chains and war. Not Boston camped on frozen ground, no drums along the road, but vessels slipping outward bound with chain shot in their hold. Newburyport, her wharves like teeth, reached far beyond the bay and sent her treasure and her fleet to keep tyrants away. Come Offin Boardman, quick and keen, a river captain's son, who learned to love the in-between, the forecastle and the gun. And on one early winter day, his chroniclers will sing of how he took 2 ships out of the service of the king. The Suki first, then friends he took, but wait, there's more to tell, of how the captors captured far from the town he loved so well.
What ho to dear old Newburyport and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for conning luck and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
It starts with snails, a smear of white on the January sea. A lookout calls a ship in sight. The captain's eye agrees. Not fishermen with honest nets, not coaster homeward bound, but something else the captain knows, a prize is to be found. A brigantine of 90 ton named Suki, stout and fair. From Cork she'd sailed, the summer gone and winter in the air. Bound for Boston, hold packed tight, with meat for soldiers' stores, and bread, for any captain knows, 'tis bread that wins a war. And Captain Boardman's able crew took her and turned her round. Prize crew aboard, food in her hold, she's taken into town. Now a capture isn't final when the colors are pulled down. Cargo must be weighed and named and logged by sober men in town. So once she came to Newburyport, they searched the paper trail, who owned her, who had paid for port, who signed the bill of sale. And when the owners proved to be a loyalist Boston firm, the town could ring its steeple bells, for the verdict stood confirmed. The Suki's crew and passengers were quickly Boston bound. Her meat and bread were winter gold, and secret letters found. Yet Boardman's eyes stayed outward still, because the captain knew, where there's one prize, another may come hoving into view.
What ho to dear old Newburyport and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for conning luck and grit. This town's renown is ocean ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
There, tacking slowly back and forth, a ship in Ipswich Bay, a larger prize than Boardman's guns can master on that day. She was a London ship, the Friends, and she was Boston bound. Archibald Bowie at the helm, provisions for the crown. No broadside first, no bloody climb. He chose a subterfuge. 3 whaleboats rowed out to the ship with Boardman's cunning crew. They pulled aside and hailed her men. Where bound? Where from? You late? They questioned back. What port is this? And can we sail in straight? And Boardman, cool as winter steel, replied with gritted cheer. We're out of Boston. Need a hand? You'll need a pilot here. And so the captain, young and green, and far from the old sod, considered his predicament and gave the fateful nod. While Boardman kept the captain's ear, his shipmates climbed the stair, and suddenly the deed was done. Armed men were everywhere. Then Boardman dropped the pilot act, snapped pistols at the door. He ordered England's flag be struck. Surprise is half of war. And in the hold, the piled goods, a captain's careful store, coals by the bin and casks of wine, live hogs and kraut and more. But come to find more prizes there, newspapers, cannon, guns, more secret documents aboard, soon sent to Washington. Oh, friends, yours is a pleasant name. Your hold is Boardman's Hall. His wit, his wink, his clever speech, your captain and his thrall. Poor Captain Bowie, stranded here, begging for liberty, a captive captain learning fast how fickle fate can be. So that's the trick, old Boardman's grin, a gangway swiftly climbed. The quiet kind of victory confuses, lulls, and blinds.
What ho to dear old Newbury port, and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons strung, for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
But war was fickle in the end for Captain Boardman's men. The wheel of fortune turned around, and luck ran out for them. As winter settled once again, Brig Dalton set her sails. Her crew were neighbors, friends, and kin. From Newburyport they hailed. She sought a prize in winter seas. For weeks her cruise was light, till Christmas Eve Cape Finisterre brought British guns in sight. At 2 o'clock, a distant shape rose pale against the sky. We beat to quarters, hearts and mouths, as 64 guns roared by. They boarded fast with pleasant words and swore we'd keep our stores. We lay below decks, choked for air, while they plundered clothes and more.
What ho for dear old Newbury port, and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung, for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
Mill Prison waited, Plymouth's shame, a place where hope is lost. Our men were questioned, sentence passed, and freedom was the cost. And in that yard where hunger gnaws, men barter bones for bread, and liberty's a hollow tune that plays inside your head. Yet even there in dismal pits, Boardman began to scheme, for prison is the kind of place that nurtures freedom's dream. Soon after capture in July, the prisoners began a first daring escape attempt, no random dash, a plan. They dug a tunnel underneath the long prison's granite hall, a secret mouth with earthen teeth, a slow and steady crawl. With nails as tools and hope as light, each breath a silent prayer, each shovelful a bulwark set against pressing despair. Just before midnight, August 4th in 1777, 32 slipped out of view and into freedom, heaven. 17 were Dalton men that crawled towards the chance to struggle safely home again by way of boats to France. Alas, most caught, returned again, but by war's end 'tis known, 20 of our Dalton men escaped and headed home. So picture it. The bloody scrapes, the muffled coughs and moans, the moment when the freshened breeze feels like it does back home. For these men, freedom was a ghost that haunted Dalton's crew, and those recaptured learned the worst. The jail remembers you.
What ho to dear old Newbury port, and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung, for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
On January 29, between 7 and 9 at night, a small party made a break, and Boardman led the fight. 2 prison guards took French leave, too, slipped off without a word, leaving the prison gates ajar by gold or conscience stirred. Just think of this, the shadowed forms, a groaning gate, a thrum, the barking of a far-off dog, and then they break and run. They went a dozen different ways and vanished down the fens. Old London was our boardman's goal, and crowds our convicts' friends. But London is a hungry maw, the sojourn doomed to fail. By February, our man was caught, returned to chains and jail. Boardman was on half rations there, but he would later learn the sentries that unlocked the gates were flogged and shot in turn. He weighed his daily meager fare. He learned what starving means, a cabbage leaf, a scrap of bread, a pint of beer between. So here the story crawls along as Boardman wastes away. Sometimes it's braver just to live, to fight another day.
What ho to dear old Newbury port and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
Now turn the page again, my friends, another year gone by, and Boardman writes, made my escape, and this time he will fly. His tools were courage, hands, and wits. He climbed a wall and rolled, dropped 30 feet, crawled to the gate, whose key, he said, was gold. Think of that drop, rope burn, raw flesh, his body bruised and sore, a slip and you are broken there, thrown in the hold once more. This man so thin but steady still, no sign of wary haste. He knows that fear's what gets you caught, and running risks the chase. He has a goal, some nearby friends, then stagecoach overland. To London once again he's bound, his fate in his own hands. In London he notes praise and thanks for an English merchant's aid. A family overjoyed he'd cleared that dismal hole, he said. He saw the sights, crossed London Bridge, showed dignity and brass, passed as a man in London born, and traveled out first class. To Dover, then to France he sailed, and then our man was free to find John Adams, John Paul Jones, and get back out to sea.
What ho to dear old Newbury port and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
So in the end, what matters these long gone names and dates, a cunning man, a captain's plan, a town that calibrates. It's measured not by might alone, but in answering the call to feed its children, free its friends, and protect the rights of all. And then when luck runs hard and low, and dungeons make men small, through tunnels dug by desperate hands, we all will scale these walls. So if you walk Plum Island now, remember Boardman made a tyrant king's provision ship, a Newburyport parade. And if you pass locked prison doors of fear or shame or hate, remember how that starving man walked calmly out the gate. Sing Captain Offin Boardman's song, my friends, rejoice with me. May you walk out of prison too, because you find the key.
What ho to dear old Newburyport and hey, Plum Island bar. Wooden ships and clever men carry this tale afar. For prizes won and prisons sprung for cunning, luck, and grit. This town's renown is ocean bound, and we keep faith with it.
So unlike in 8th grade, I didn't pee my pants or pass out. And also in 8th grade, I didn't imagine that there would be a bunch of tricorn-hatted, gorgeous men singing the song with me. So, and this is incredibly gratifying. So thank you for indulging me. I have to say, I've spent most of my adult life and most of my career with Offin Boardman, and every time I encounter him in the record, he is as alive to me as if he were sitting here in the room, and I feel like he would appreciate this. He lived an incredible life, and every time I find a new bit of information about him, I love him all the more. So thank you for singing Offin song with me.
Yeah.
Is it just me?
I'm gonna put away a Cranky, and I'm not gonna put away a Cranky.
I'm going to be cranky.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I have an insult for that guy. You were like an ill-roasted egg. All on one side. You're like a fried egg that's broken yolk. I will drink. I own that.
On Wednesday, the 27th March instant, will be sold at public auction on Captain Marquand's Wharf in Newburyport a quantity of Irish rose butter in firkins and crocks, also a quantity of pickled tripe in kegs, being part of the brigantine Suki's cargo, taken and brought into this port by the Washington privateer. The sale to begin at 10 o'clock a.m. Agreeable to a decree of the Court of Admiralty, will be sold at public auction on Tuesday, the 7th day of May next, the brigantine Suki, berthed in about 90 tons with her sails, rigging, tackle, and appurtenances, as she now lies at Captain Marquand's Wharf. Also, the remainder of her cargo, consisting of best Irish, new fresh beef, pork tongues, loaf sugar, candles, hams, and a quantity of oats. The sale to begin at 9 o'clock a.m. at the store of Moses Little, Esquire.
Bethany, could you just give us some basic context about why that advertisement would have been in the paper?
Well, because
we all know, but
that
I
is
need
the-
you to say
that
it
is the
because I'm
vessel
slow.
That Offin Boardman helped to take. So they are auctioning off not only the contents of this prize, but also the vessel itself. And the advertisement for that appeared in the paper. So the advertisements are also obviously verbatim from the newspaper.
Yes, and now we have another advertisement verbatim from the newspaper that is going to bear on a certain court case.
John Grosart begs leave to acquaint the public that he has imported in the last ships from Glasgow and London an assortment of Scotch and English goods which he is determined to sell very cheap, for cash only, either by wholesale or retail, at his shop in Newburyport, lately improved by Mr. Moses Little. Amongst his assortment are the following articles most immediately suitable for this season, viz. Broadcloths, bath coatings, bases, low-priced, middling, and superfine plaids, camblets and campbellteens as low as 8 to 10 shillings per yard, calamencos, tammies, durants, shalloons, poplins, satin, plain and flowered mode, men's worsted and yarn stockings, kilmarnock and other caps, linens, linen and cotton checks, linen and cotton checked handkerchiefs, a few pieces of very neat cotton, and linen checks for aprons, plain flowered and spotted lawns, lawn aprons, breeches patterns, black everlasting, muslin and silk gauze aprons, coarse and fine bed tick, counterpanes with almost every other type of article for common use. Note, some of the above-mentioned lawns and gauzes are perhaps the most genteel of any ever imported into North America.
Okay. Susanna Moody, everybody. All right. If you are going to testify in a case, in other words, if you were given a piece of paper with somebody's name on it, we would love it if you would come up here now. All of you, bum rush the stage all at once because you're so excited about it. That's right. The excitement is palpable. Up you come. And
all the calico.
Now, I think I told you all that I want to. Yes, you can congregate right over here with this handsome
some of the Portermen have some
man with a beautiful head covering. As I told you, the first time that I experienced Tales and Ales, I got very angry at Bethany. And that anger is somewhat lessened by the fact that she's allowed me to be part of this tonight. I pass it over to Bethany, the maven of Tales and Ales, the once and future program.
We're going to do this again.
Yes.
Teddy Speck. Yes,
No.
we will. I got started, this whole Tales and Ales thing happened because I encountered the Essex County Quarterly Court in the 17th century, and there was such an incredible, rich record of people whose lives didn't exist anywhere else. So moving up to the 18th century court record was really a jar. So they're not quite as sexy because the 17th century court records were held in a tavern. But we're going to talk about, in the tavern, we will do some of those again. We're going to talk a little bit about some court cases that were happening in Newburyport in 1776 and thereabouts. We're going to start before 1776. In 1773, I'd like to call John Grosart, merchant, who just placed that long-winded advertisement. John?
John Grosart? Oh, Christ. Listen, this is a little off topic from what we were just talking about.
It totally tracks, Graham. Come on.
Yeah, my costume on. I am John Grosart, merchant. I, with William Moreland. Not here?
Oh, he's here somewhere. I don't know.
Okay. William Miller? Yes. Oh, great. All right, I'm not standing up here alone. Gentlemen as sureties, all of Newburyport in the county of Essex, are bound in recognizance to the king about my case. My surety is £100, no short amount of money. Said Mortland and Miller are £50 each. Could be a little better. For my personal appearance in the next court of general sessions of the peace to be held at Salem within the county of Essex on the second Tuesday, C-H-E-W, Tuesday of July next, to answer to such things as shall be objected against me on His Majesty's behalf, most particularly to a complaint of Margaret Nichols. Are you here? Great. Against me for my begetting her with child, of which she is now pregnant, and when born, the child is likely to be a bastard, and charged to the town of Newburyport. I shall do and receive that which the said court shall then and there enjoin me, and shall not depart without license. But in the words of Michael Jackson, the kid is not my son.
You are in so much trouble, John. I'd like to call Andrew Nichols. Do we have an Andrew Nichols here?
Oh, you are here?
Yes.
Andrew.
Oh, thanks, Margaret.
Andrew. You said Andrew, right?
Andrew, yeah, I did.
Yes, I am Andrew Nichols. I give to my daughter, hereafter mentioned Margaret Grosart, £4 16 shillings to be paid to her by my 5 sons in equal shares, under what household goods I have already given her, together with all her late mother, wearing apparel, jewels, and rings to her and her heirs forever.
Thank you, Andrew. So Andrew Nichols is the mother of Margaret Nichols, the aforementioned knocked-up complainant against John Grosart, who was born in Scotland. That's where the Grosart name comes from. I was first interested in this case because I've never heard of a Grosart. He's not my cousin. However, Margaret Nichols is. So, Andrew Nichols, he was charged with impregnating the lovely and talented Margaret Nichols in March 1773. In October 1773, Andrew Nichols is leaving in his will to his daughter, Margaret Grosart. So what does this tell us? She got him. He married her. Good job. Okay, I would like to, do we have an ad for the Brigantine Susanna?
Is that the thing I just handed back to you that you said I...
Yeah, maybe here you go.
Okay,
Right there. Ad.
All right, thank you.
For London, the Brigantine Susanna, John McFarland Master will sail by the last of this month, period. For freight or passage, apply to John Grosart at his shop in Newburyport, a little below the ferry. For James River, Virginia, period, the Brigantine Lark, John Fulton Master will sail by the 1st of January. For freight or passage, apply to John Grosart in Newburyport, a little below the ferry.
He wants to know that you're a little below, he's a little below the ferry. So John Grosart has now, according to the maths, has had a wife and a child. Now, what we find in the record is that there is no birth record of a child to John Grosart. There is, however, a baptismal record on January 9th, which is a proper 10-month from the court case. So they managed to not report the birth, but they reported the baptism so that future descendants could do the math and think my ancestor was not a bastard. They were. Okay. So Enoch Lunt, what do you have to say?
I am Enoch Lunt of Newbury in Essex County, mariner, as you can see from my hat.
Clearly.
And I offer a plea of my case that John Grosart of Newburyport on the first day of August owed me the sum of 60 pounds, 10 shillings, and 1 penny. And 3 farthings. According to the account annexed in consideration thereof, gotta have it here somewhere. Never mind. According to the account annexed in consideration thereof, then and there he promised to pay me this, the same sum, on demand, yet though required, he has not done it. Also, for that I had sold the said Grosart at Newburyport on the same first day of August instant, and delivered him 66 tons and 37 feet of pine timber, 600 and a half of staves, 4 masts, 10 pounds of rope, other than that in the account aforementioned, though of like quality, and at the same time, then and there, he promised me the money. The same day I gave the said Grosart notice and required him to pay me the same in goods and money, and yet he has not paid the same, but neglects and refuses to pay.
Thank you.
Worth all that, but not a penny more.
So let me just say, so Enoch Lunt, so John Grosart's having a very bad year. So he's knocked up the lovely and talented Margaret Nichols. He's married her for good or ill. They have had a child, and now he is being sued in court by Enoch Lunt and a host of other people. This is just the one that I pulled. I would like to call Benjamin Lunt, who is related to Enoch Lunt, but this is on another matter.
An interesting side note, this man later started a bakery in a large tree.
That's not true. That's untrue. Rumor, fiction only. Carry on.
All right.
This is Benjamin Lunt. This is serious stuff, my friends.
I am Benjamin Lunt of Newburyport in the county of Essex, mariner, and administrator of all the estate that belonged to Benjamin Lunt, late of Newbury in said county, mariner, deceased. My father, during his life, supported and maintained a poor, indigent bastard child born in the town of Newbury of the body of Hannah Perkins, a poor person belonging to the said town of Newbury, from the 15th of June, 1769, to the 14th of September, 1771. 210 weeks, he deserved to have the same sum. He deserved to have for the same the sum of 45 pounds. I applied to the selectmen of the town of Newbury for pay thereof, but they refused to pay me the same, and say that said town of Newbury is not chargeable for the support of said bastard child. Wherefore I pray this court would determine whether the said town of Newbury is chargeable with the support of the said bastard child, and if chargeable, would make such order relative to the payment of the same sum, for the support and maintenance of said bastard child as the law allows.
Thank you very much. So this is Benjamin Lunt, the son of Benjamin Lunt, the cousin of Benjamin Lunt, also the nephew of Benjamin Lunt. There's 570 trillion Benjamin Lunts in this town. They have no creativity. In fact, this is a true story. There was a man, I can't remember, his name was probably Benjamin Lunt. He had 2 sons. He had a wife. His oldest son with wife number 1 was Benjamin Lunt. Then she died. Sad. Then he married again, had his first son then also named that child Benjamin Lunt. And then these 2 Benjamins wandered around Newbury. This is right here in this town. Wandered around Newburyport. One of them was very short, and he was known as Big Ben. And one of them was very tall, and he was known as Little Ben. And they went to the whale. I'm just kidding. That part's made up, but the rest of it is 100% true. So he is suing on behalf of his father's estate, saying, my father supported this woman with this bastard child. He loves saying the word bastard child. He says it 460 times. And he's asking for them to pay back for the support of this bastard child. The town of Newbury says, no, your father was just a nice guy and he was helping somebody out, so it's not up to us. And he did not get the money in the end. So, joke's on you, Benjamin Lunt, whoever you are. Okay, this is another unrelated case. Where's Henry Warren of Rowley?
Here I am.
Henry.
I am Henry Warren of Rowley, Rowley in the county of Essex, laborer, being arraigned upon presentment found against me for stealing a watch from Nehemiah Brown. I plead guilty and am ordered to pay Brown, the prosecutor, £12, being treble the value of the watch stone. The watch, if returned, will be accounted for 1/3 part thereof, and I am to be further punished by being whipped 15 times on the back at the public whipping post in Ipswich. I'm unable to make restitution or pay such threefold damages, so I must make satisfaction by service, and Brown is empowered to dispose of me in service to any of His Majesty's subjects for 2 years. I am to pay costs and stand committed till my service is performed.
I feel really sorry for Henry Warren. So Henry Warren stole a watch. Now, a watch is a big effing deal. This is 1773, right? How many people are walking around with watches? Not many. I mean, a lot of people have clocks. How many people have watches? Think about it. 1773. This is a big deal. You stole the latest iPhone, a new piece of technology. And so he's caught. He actually admits it. And they sentence him to pay back 3 times the value of the watch, which is more than he makes in 10 years. And he can't. He just says, I can't pay it back. And so the person who he stole the watch from is allowed to basically sell him his labor for 2 years to recompense the cost of the watch. And you can also sell him into the military if you wish. I don't know what happened to you, but I hope for your sake it turned out great. Okay. I would like to call Benjamin Greenleaf. We're going to get back to the case of the Grosarts.
I am Benjamin Greenleaf, chair of the Newbury Port Committee of Safety. It has been represented to this committee that Mrs. Margaret Grosart of this town has received letters from her husband, who is in Boston, recommending it to her to come there to him, that she has applied to General Washington, this is January 19th, 1776, to General Washington for leave or assistance to get there, and that her application has been rejected, and also that the said Grosart had requested of Mr. William Miller in this matter, and we are now informed that the said Miller, in company with Mrs. Grosart, set off from hence a few hours ago for Providence, as it is said, having with them large trunks and other packages, that a letter directed to a person in Boston was this day to be committed to the care of the said Mrs. Grosart. From these and other like circumstances, we are induced to believe that she is designed for Boston by the way of Rhode Island, and we are not satisfied that this is not the design of Mr. Miller to accompany her there. Our principal reason for this suggestion, as also why we would endeavor to prevent it, are that the said Miller has for some years past been employed as a custom house officer, that he is a man of more than common shrewdness and understanding, and therefore disposed capable of injuring the country if he should have an opportunity to mix with the enemies of it. Wherefore we desire you to pursue the said persons with all convenient speed and examine them, and any others traveling with them, if any others there are, and you judge it prudent, in regard to their intentions. And also, if they have any letters or other papers with them that may serve to show the design of this journey, you are to take them into your custody, and by no means suffer them to conceal or destroy, if any, and you are then to conduct them to Watertown, and immediately represent them to the council, the circumstances attending this affair, to the intent that they may take such measures respecting them as they shall think proper.
Beautiful. Benjamin Greenleaf was a long-winded dude. So the lovely and talented, formerly knocked up Margaret Grosart has run off with one of the sureties in her fornication trial. John Grosart is in Boston, her husband, and clearly they are loyalists because the Committee of Safety in January 1776 is very worried about what letters she may have that she is going to deliver to unnamed persons in Boston. What we know, and what Alex Kane knows right there, is that John Grosart is a loyalist who has requested evacuation to Halifax with the troops that leave Boston in April of 1776. So let's carry on. Let's hear from the council chambers in Watertown. James? Vincent? Giroux?
I'm John Murray.
Oh, sorry. Whoop. Sorry. Okay, is anyone the council chambers in Watertown? No? Okay, it's me. All right. So this is from Watertown. So the Newburyport Committee of Safety, Benjamin Greenleaf, is basically writing to the head poobahs in Watertown and saying, these people left. We don't know what to do. They might have secret letters. They're going to Rhode Island. They might be in Boston, whatever. And the committee in Watertown says, your instructions to Mr. Wigglesworth and Mr. Hodge, requesting them to pursue William Miller and Margaret Grosart, were laid before this board, the letters which were taken with them. So they've recaptured them and the letters. The board fully approves of the vigilance of your committee and over the opinion of the escape of these persons, especially Miller, will be dangerous to the country and your town in particular. We have therefore directed that they return to Newburyport. Are you sensing a theme here? They send them to Watertown. They send them back to Newburyport. We don't care. You keep them. Unless William Miller shall give such security as you may think safe for the public and also for your town, he will not depart the town of Newburyport unless, by leave of this board, he will not hold any correspondence with the enemies of American liberty. You are further empowered to commit him to close confinement until the further orders of this board. So William Miller and Margaret Grosart, loyalists, have run off to try to find Margaret's husband, John, loyalist in Boston. And they've been caught and they've been brought to the Committee of Safety. And they're in Watertown, the council, and they're sending them back to Newburyport. I would like to call Tristram Dalton, Esquire.
Tristram?
Okay, clearly there was
Make it tonight.
a failure in the documentary chain here. Anyone? No? Okay. Tristram Dalton, Esquire, says he's representing the Committee of Safety. We have voted that the present security required for Mr. William Miller not departing the town or corresponding with the enemies of American liberty is his word of honor. Also, he lives with the minister of St. Paul's Church, Mr. Bass, with whom Mr. Miller lodges. If at any time he's absent from his lodging, Mr. Bass should suppose he went out of town or for any other reason, he will immediately acquaint us with it or the committee. In other words, he's under house arrest, but we trust him. Basically, he's an all right guy. He lives with the minister, and the minister will tell us if he absconds. I'd like to call William Miller.
Billy.
Hey, customs officer, boo. Boo. You're the taxman.
I am William Miller. I solemnly promise upon my work of honor that I will not depart the town of Newburyport unless by leave of the honorable council of this colony.
Fair enough.
And that I will not hold any correspondence with the enemies of American liberty.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to call the Reverend Edward Bass of St. Paul's Church.
I'm the Reverend Character Witness.
Good job.
I am Reverend Edward Bass of St. Paul's Church. I promise and engage to the committee and safety of this town that if Mr. William Miller, who lodges with me, shall at any one time be so long absent from his lodging as to give me reason to suppose he has gone out of this town or have any reason to suppose that he intends going out of it, I will immediately acquaint one or more of the committee with it.
So this is interesting because William Miller is sort of followed around the town. He has to promise he won't leave again. He's got minders. The Reverend has to say if he leaves. Margaret Grosart is a bit of a shadow, so we're always looking to see what happened to her. I'm going to call Sally Bass.
Sally Bass.
Sally Bass.
You're on in 5.
Sally. Okay. I am Sally Bass. Our lodger, William Miller, has been given leave to depart this continent in consequence of an order of council for that purpose, provided he gives his parole of honor not to act inimical, nor speak anything that should be injurious to the United Colonies of North America or any part of them. Word has been sent to Boston of his going. So William Miller, this is new information, applied for and got permission to leave. And off he went. So William Miller, F off. What happened to Margaret Grosart? Where's Margaret?
I am Margaret Grosart of Newburyport. My petition humbly sheweth that your petitioner has a husband at New York in good circumstances, who has been there from the commencement of the present unhappy contest. That she is here quite destitute of a livelihood to support herself and two helpless children.
One of them is a bastard.
That her husband has repeatedly wrote for her for her these past 2 years, and lately has wrote in particular, which induces your petition to apply to your honors for leave to go to her said husband and procure a pass for her and her 2 children for that purpose. Your compliance herein will greatly relieve the afflicted and distressed, and your petitioner will ever pray. Signed, Margaret Grosart.
Okay, so Margaret Grosart, thank you, Margaret. We all know your secret. Margaret Grosart has been applying repeatedly for permission to join her husband, who went to Halifax briefly and then went to New York. Now remember, I don't know, and you might need a little bit of expert advice here, but New York was occupied by the British for a whole lot longer than Massachusetts. So her husband went from Halifax, and then he saw an opportunity to go to New York. So John Grosart, where are you, you filthy loyalist? Anyway, he ends up in New York, and she keeps applying for permission to join him. It's repeatedly denied, but in 1777, the court was tired of her, and they allowed her to go to New York. Now, the next time we see John Grosart, he is in New York, the war is over, it is 1785, and he is suing Enoch Lunt for the mast staves, which Enoch Lunt sued him for. He said, "You didn't give me all the staves." And the town of Newburyport was like, "You can F right off, Mr. Loyalist." So anyway, he ends up in New York, and he becomes quite a successful merchant in New York. I'd like to call Caleb Wheaton on another matter. Caleb?
It's you. I am Caleb Wheaton. I'm in prison for abusive language and drinking confusion to General Washington and health to Lord North.
Oh, so this is another toast. So this man has been overheard drinking, cheers, to confusion to General Washington. I won't drink to that. Confusion to General Washington and health to Lord North, and it ends him up in jail. So he's another loyalist. Okay, I'd like to call John Murray. What have you been up to?
Greetings, everybody.
John
Hi there.
Murray.
I am John Murray. I am John Murray, resident of Newburyport in the county of Essex, laborer, and you'll find worthy of a blues song. I am found to have not the fear of God before my eyes on the 6th day of December in the year of our Lord 1785 at Newburyport within the said county of Essex, with force and arms in and upon one David Collier in the peace of God and of his commonwealth, I did make an assault with an oaken pipestave, which I had and held in both my hands, and willfully and feloniously did throw against and at the said Dave Collier. And with that, the said pipestave thrown, I did hit and strike on the neck, thereby giving to the said David Collier a brutal and mortal bruise and wound in the neck by breaking the blood vessels and vital part in the same, by which said mortal bruise and wound, the said David Collier then and there instantly died. I am found guilty and set to the bar, and am sentenced to 1 hour on the gallows with a halter about my neck, and the other end cast over the gallows, pay costs of prosecution, and stand committed till sentence be performed.
Thank you. Thank you, John Murray. I'm so sorry that you killed David Collier. So basically, these are 2 working men. They get in a fight, and one of them throws a pipe stave, hits the other guy in the neck, probably breaks his neck. But what they say is that he breaks the blood vessels in his neck, and he dies. He instantly dies. And so this is a case, clearly, of manslaughter. And what they sentence him to is actually quite appropriate for an accident, basically, for which he is responsible because he threw the pipe stave. So he has to sit with a halter around his neck, meaning I could have been executed for this, but he wasn't, and they take the halter off. The halter is the noose. So this is a way of saying this is a thing for which you should be sentenced to death, but we are not going to sentence you to death. It's really profound. And the other end cast over the gallows, and then they let him go. So this is their way of saying you should be killed for this, you angry laborer, but actually it was a moment of anger, and we're going to let you go. So interesting twists there. You know, you see people being whipped for minor thefts, and then you see people who have killed somebody who are let go. So it's an interesting, the record is fascinating. So that is all I have for this court record. Oh, wait, what is your name?
Are you Abigail Green?
Are you Abigail Green? Get up there. I'd like to call Abigail Green. Almost got away with it. Come on, Abigail. Can I call you Abby?
Yeah, please.
Okay, go. It's a good one.
I am Abigail Green of Salisbury in the county of Essex, single woman, cometh into court and confesseth herself guilty of the crime of fornication, sorry, Mom, with a male person, whereof she had a bastard child born of her body at Salisbury, forced on the 3rd of January last 1777. Ordered that she pay a fine of 5 shillings and cost and stand committed until sentence be performed.
Thank you, Abby. So Abby came into court. Abby from Salisbury had a baby, and she wouldn't say who the daddy was. So she doesn't get somebody to marry her. She has to pay the whole thing herself. They don't whip her. They just basically say, you know, you need to pay the fine. You have to support this child. And often it says, a male person of the jury unknown. So anyway, thank you. Thank you, Abigail Green. Wait, do we have another one?
Oh, no, you did mine already.
Okay, great. Okay, sorry. She got out of it. She's all set. Okay. Thank you. Can we thank our criminals here on stage? Okay. Thank you so much. Huzzah. Okay. So back to you.
Again, all words actually spoken right here 250 years ago.
Including the word bastard.
Because I'm so deathly jealous of Adrian. I got to play the dulcimer. That song is the 18th century equivalent of "You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. As you can tell by the fact that it's almost 11, we just couldn't cut anything out, and by we, I mean me. I wanted it all. I apologize, but I know you enjoyed it. Admit you enjoyed it. We've got one thing left to do, thank you, and that is to sing the Parting Glass. So the Parting Glass is the goodnight song. The Parting Glass was also called the Stirrup Cup. It was a cup that you would bring to your guest as they left.
Road soda?
Yes. In modern day, it's called a road soda. No. It was first recorded about when the Mayflower was crossing over to here, and it was supplanted by Old Lang Syne as the favorite parting song about when George Washington was president. So we're going to sing the Parting Glass. You've got the lyrics there. If you don't, lean on your neighbor. And Portermen, one last time, take us home.
Oh, of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and of all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done
so fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all.
Oh, if I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while.
There is a fair maid in this town who surely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and rosy lips, I own she has my heart enthralled. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all.
Oh, of all the comrades that e'er I had,
They're sorry for my going away.
and of all the sweethearts that e'er I had,
They would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and I softly call. Good night and joy be with you all.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much to the Firehouse. Thank you, Ted. Thank you for taking care of us. Thank you, Rev 250. Thank you, the Portermen. Thank you to Adrian.
Thank you for making all of my nerdy dreams come true.
Woo! Good night.
Good night, everyone. Adrian, our advertising wench, our angry tavern goer.
Pox upon you, Steve Treasury.